With Mikel Merino finally confirmed after a sort of long transfer saga, and with the deadline day coming this Friday at 11 PM, only 2 days away, Arsenal still have a lot of business to do. We're going to have a look at some players Arsenal can sign and which players make the most sense for Arsenal to do before the deadline on Friday. If you're new or you're returning and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below, hit the like button. Arsenal clearly need to bolster their attacking options before the deadline. We all entered this summer expecting and hoping Arsenal to add a marquee forward to our ranks, and it seems to not have happened. And with the outgoings of Smith Rowe to Fulham, Fabio Vieira now on loan to Porto, and Eddie Nketiah soon to confirm his move to Crystal Palace, and possibly a deadline day move for Reece Nelson, although it's unsure if Arsenal will sanction that move so late in this window, Arsenal need to at least add one forward minimum to the ranks before the deadline. Let's have a look at some players that I think Arsenal can sign. Nico Williams, probably Arsenal's #1 target in the wide areas. Nico at 22 is a brilliant talent, adding pace, power, 1v1 ability and just overall X factor, which makes him deadly in and around the box and in wide areas. He can play both left wing and right wing, as we saw for Bilbao last season and notably for Spain during the Euros, during their triumph in the Euros 2024 this summer. He has a release clause of about 58 million euros, and that would offer a real bargain for a player of his talent and the amount of clubs that probably would want to add Nico to their ranks. Arsenal could make this move, but it may prove difficult, being that it's unsure whether Nico would want to leave Spain this summer or Bilbao, and especially this late in the window, it may prove to be a hard move without Bilbao having the ability to replace him. It also has been noted that Barcelona want to move for this player, but obviously with their financial situation, is he holding out for a move next summer? It's unsure. But if Arsenal can make a move for Nico Williams, it would prove to be a real statement signing on deadline day. With a deal for Williams probably proving a bit too tough this late in the window, another player that Arsenal can move for, a tier below but still a gem probably waiting to bloom, is Johan Bakayoko. At 21 years old, the Belgian winger that plays for PSV is a real quality option with his passing, his shooting from both inside and outside the box, and his dribbling ability and 1v1 ability, as Arsenal have seen for themselves last season in the Champions League group stages home and away against PSV. Valued at around 40 million euros, he would come in as natural and real competition for Bukayo Saka, allowing him to have that much needed rest when he needs to be rotated out, and also ability for Bukayo to be used in different positions. We've seen Fabio Vieira and ESR leave the club, and having only Nwaneri as that real alternative option in that attacking midfield position for Odegaard. Could Saka be used here if we were to get an option by Bakayoko? I would be happy to see him come in and would be a real option that I would approve. Simon Adingra is a 22-year-old wide player who plays for Brighton. The Ivorian has the experience of playing in the Premier League, unlike Nico and Johan, and is a quality player. He can also operate on the right wing and left wing, something that we know Mikel loves his players to do. And we also saw how clutch he can be for Ivory Coast in the African combinations, and recently for Brighton in their last minute win against Man United with that nice chipped cross to the back post for João Pedro to slot home for the winner. It's valued at around £30 million, but we know Brighton are tough negotiators and will probably request more. Other wide options that Arsenal could go for this deadline day, they could loan players like the likes of Raheem Sterling or Kingsley Coman. They've been linked to moves to other teams, Coman to Saudi, Sterling with Man United in the swap deal with Sancho. But could Arsenal prove to make a late move if they couldn't get options like Bakayoko and Nico Williams? Or could they move for a player like Eberiche Eze, albeit him not being a natural winger, but he can operate out there in the left, but could definitely provide cover in the 8 positions and attacking midfield positions and bring that X factor, and also be an ex-Hale End or coming back with something to prove. Could Arsenal trigger that 60 million release clause on deadline day? Or will Arsenal move for a natural striker and not necessarily a winger? There was some on Twitter, some rumours coming out about Arsenal potentially moving for Nunez, as he may be surplus to requirements at Liverpool, or they're looking to move him out. I think Nunez is a good player. At 25, he's still young, but very raw. His finishing, some of the chances that he misses is just crazy, but he is an option. I do like a lot about his game, his movement, his hunger, his passion, his dribbling ability, and I think the fact that he gets that many chances shows that he is a good striker. But to become a deadly striker, to become a great striker, he needs to be deadly in front of goal. Can Mikel revive him the same way he revived Kai Havertz, or would Arsenal move for a player that I feel like has become forgotten, but is probably in Arsenal's ranks, and maybe would prove to be more value for money in Evan Ferguson from Brighton. We know they're tough negotiators, like I just said, for Adingra, but with Ferguson being the forgotten man, it seems with some of his injuries it kind of stunted his progression. He kind of fell out with De Zerbi last season, and with their new coach Hertzler, I hope I pronounced it right, coming to the team this season, we already know João Pedro and Danny Welbeck are ahead of him in the food chain, and they just recently signed Sebastian Rutler from Leeds, who I believe is a striker as well. So clearly he has a lot of competition, and maybe a lot of players are blocking his pathway. Can Arsenal make a move for him? I think he has the capability to be one of the best centre forwards with his all-around ability, familiarity playing in this kind of system. Out of all these players that I've said in this video, my number one, of course, would be Nico Williams. If Arsenal can actually sign him and there's a possibility that a deal can be done, I would want us to go for him. But if that's not possible, I would either want Johan Bakayoko or Evan Ferguson. I think obviously both being two different players. One sorts a need out in terms of covering Bukayo Saka, and the other one, I think, sorts a need out in terms of getting that striker who can finish, albeit his fitness being an issue, but at his value, at his age, Ferguson comes in, will prove to be very, very good. Other news, we know that Aaron Ramsdale seems to be nearing a move to Southampton. I don't see Aaron staying to be playing second keeper for another season. If Aaron does move, it seems that Arsenal already have two keepers lined up, or need to sign two keepers. They have one lined up in Johan Garcia from Espanyol, I believe it is. Personal terms are already agreed, and I think there's a release clause for about 20 to 25 million, but I think Arsenal can get a deal done below that. That's why they're holding out and have already done the groundwork in case they need to sign this player. And it's come out today that Arsenal are looking at 22-year-old winger keeper Sam Tickle, as well as Dan Bentley from Wolves for that third keeper position. So we'll see which keeper they choose, but it's going to be a lot of players that should be coming in before the window gets done, especially if Ramsdale leaves. Is there anything else with a deadline day move going on? Not really that many names are like floating around that we know are solid options that Arsenal are going to move for. Could there be other moves Arsenal are working on in the background to make happen on deadline day as a surprise? As we said, you never know. Arsenal, our squad, we seem to be letting players go, and there's still probably another 2 or 3 players that possibly could still make a move before the deadline day goes. And we're very short in that forward line and midfield, attacking creative line. So could there be something being done? We know Arsenal always do their due diligence and background to make deals done. So let's see. Comment down below your thoughts on any of the players I've suggested that Arsenal could sign or should sign before the window shuts. Are there any players you agree with? Are there other players that I haven't said in this video that you would want Arsenal to sign? And just how do you feel? Do you think there's something special brewing up, or do you just think Arsenal are going to end this window with probably only doing the keepers and not getting the forward in and just keeping Reece Nelson, which would be very disappointing? Hit that subscribe button down below, smash the like button, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Speak soon.